Hey guys, my name's Ravi Sharma and I'm the founder and buyer's agent here at Search Property. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode of Search Property TV. If you're new here, on this channel we talk about Australian real estate, the economy and passive income. So if this is of interest to you, then definitely do consider subscribing and watching some of the videos from previous months. Now in this video, I am sharing my personal strategy. Now everyone is different, but the core strategy is pretty much the same when you're building out a roadmap to financial freedom. Now for me, I only talk about stuff on this channel that can bring you guys value, and I've brought out a few videos previously about how much passive income I make and my multi-million-dollar portfolio of 13 properties, but I only do it if it brings you value. If I can be part of your journey, whether that's directly or indirectly through these videos, then it's an amazing experience and I thank you so much. Now, today's video, personal strategy of exactly what I'm doing in terms of my roadmap and how this could inspire you to do the same. Now, the reason I make these videos, it sometimes becomes really difficult to understand how big this could actually be and what's actually possible. Now, especially with something like real estate, there's so much that's unknown, and that's why I created this YouTube channel to really try and help simplify things and demystify some of those concerns and myths that people have about the Australian real estate industry. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my strategy, so keep watching. So there's two things I want to make you aware of. First, I'm going to talk about my foundation and the strategy, and then I'm going to talk to you about 4 concepts of what I think really makes a true proper investor and not just a speculative investor that hopes that something is going to grow. And the 4 concepts are illustrated beautifully by my artwork, of course hand drawn by yours truly. Now obviously with these videos, everything's for free, so all I ask you to do is please drop me a like down below, and if you have a comment, a question at all, it might be actually quicker to get me on here, so comment down below apart from trying to send me an email. So I'll attend to all comments, I reply to every one of you guys. So let's jump into the video. So the first stage is foundation. Now with foundation, it really is about concentrating on the recession-proof bread and butter type properties. What I mean by that is if you go back to my video about my personal portfolio, it's buying cheaper properties that are affordable, but also in still high growth areas that are giving you cash flow. So it's not about just spending all of your money into one property, which I see so many of you guys are doing, which is basically going out there and purchasing one property, and it so happens to be, if it's in Sydney or Melbourne, you're pretty much buying a unit or a house and land sort of package, and it's usually costing all of your savings. So $100,000, $120,000. Now the way I think about that is going, instead of spending $100,000 or $120,000 on one property, I'm actually going out there and diversifying. I'm looking for the affordable properties in that market because they're always going to be in demand. They're the most affordable in that market. Now, if they're located in really good high growth areas, you actually have sort of a lag effect and it ripples through the entire market, and you actually take benefit of those percentage growths. Now, I talk about this in detail a lot in my videos. You should definitely go check out my portfolio and how I've managed to do it with cheaper properties. Some people go, well, they don't grow. Clearly, they do grow. It's just a matter of understanding why they grow. Now, I'm not saying all cheap properties will grow, but it's about affordable markets and understanding there is demand, but there's diversification in that economy. So it's not just relying on one industry, and if it, say, happens to be retail, then something like COVID could pretty much screw you over because everyone was in lockdowns. So in my foundation, I am looking for properties that are the most affordable, are easily able to be rented out to tenants, and they provide me cash flow. These are the properties that are the set and forget, the truly set and forgets, where I've got tenants in there for say 8, 9 years, some are 15 years, right? Even before I purchase the property. This is where you don't want to have a headache. And if you are able to go, well, my first priority with investing in real estate is I need to take care of my financial future. I want to know how I can retire. Well, these are the type of properties you want to be buying straight up. I've also got a video about how to make $100,000 in passive income just through real estate, and it's basically based on foundation properties. So I'm not saying you need to get fancy with this. This is the bare knuckles. This is the bare minimum recession-proof properties that basically 3-bedroom house that sits there on a 600 square meter block. It's the set and forget. So that's what makes up the first part of the strategy. It's the foundation. Too many people are jumping in from the foundation straight into the next stage of the portfolio. And I say, look, ease up, Tiger. You can't get there quickly. And it's often you trying to get there quicker because you want to make quick money. Guys, real estate is not about quick money. Quick fixes are not a thing. It's about time in the market. And if you're able to get the right research and you're able to time the market, well, you've got now two forces there to get capital growth and rental growth. And that's the most important thing here. While doing all of this, as a coach and mentor here at Search Property, all I'm doing for clients is going, one, I can get you the high growth properties, but it's all about diversifying that risk and mitigating that risk as much as possible. If you're in your 20s and your 30s, do you really want to have debt worth $700,000, $800,000 on a property to live in and that's it? That's a liability. What I would be looking at, and is exactly what I've been doing, now helping clients with, is to go, you know what, let's get foundation properties. Let's plug 2 or 3 in 3 different states, so there's no land tax issues, and you've diversified your risk. You now have little bits of assets spread out across Australia that allows you the opportunity to get that equity growth. It also manages your cash flow, so now you've got different sources of income. We've already realized during 2020 that the importance of having multiple streams of income is massive. If someone lost their job and they relied on one income, you were screwed. So in this case, it's about going, how do I build my wealth in a safe, sustainable way whilst reducing my risk? So that's foundation property. The next type of properties I would invest in are called trading properties. So trading. This is where things get a little sexier. Now it's Australian real estate, so I don't know how sexy it could become, but essentially in this sort of zone, this is where you're looking for some sort of deals that you're able to actually offload, maybe sell at a later date, or you're actually able to go in, develop. Now this is something that became huge in Sydney a couple of years ago, and I think still people are trying to do it, and they're trying to risk and take on the market at the moment, which I don't advise at all. But essentially is where you're going in and you think that by either selling or by developing on that property, you're actually able to make a quick dollar. Now, when I say quick dollar, there's a lot into it, but essentially if you go in and you buy a piece of land which has a house on it, if you knock down the house and you built a duplex, now the duplex, they're both new, so you're able to sell each one and the profit you make from it is say $200,000. There's people out there that actually, live and breathe by this. So they actually go out, develop every year, and that becomes their salary. The reason why people want to get into that is because who doesn't want to get paid $200,000 after one project? Sounds really good. However, as you're getting rid of those properties, you're trading those properties, you don't really have anything next to your name in terms of assets. So would you rather be active and having to do these projects every year to make an income, or would you rather have the set and forget foundation that allows you guaranteed that I'm going to retire in 20, 30 years? And then you can accelerate things with a trading properties. So this is exactly what I was doing. I purchased a few properties in my foundation and I continue to purchase some in my foundation. And these are the ones that, I would either hold the whole way through. They might be passed down to my kids. It's generational wealth. And with the trading properties, it's really about going, okay, I need to understand the market, I need to understand my strategy, and it might be that you need to purchase these properties, make some more money to pay down some more debt. And this is where it becomes so important that your strategy and your goals are basically aligned in a roadmap. If you don't have that, you're basically screwed because you're walking around in the dark and saying, yeah, okay, I'll buy a property and I don't know why. And then 5 years later, you realize, was that really the best move I could have made at that point? Probably not. So that's what trading properties are. They come in many forms, multi-unit developments, townhouses. You could either just buy a rundown property, go in, develop the property and sell it. You could buy dual occupancy homes. There's so much you can do here, but essentially trading properties have that quick money to then pay off the debt on your foundation. The last part of the entire strategy is lifestyle. So what I mean by lifestyle, this is when you get to live off the properties, right? So the foundation, you're building up the nitty-gritty, recession-proof type stuff. You get into trading properties, you're now looking at paying down debt. with these types of properties. They get a bit sexier as well. So, you can have some nice flashy homes that you've built yourself. But what people are doing is they go, oh, I see this, right? I see this and I see an off the plan unit, or I see the potential to build duplexes. They get too caught up in the sexiness of Australian real estate. I hope I don't get demonetized for saying it so many times, but essentially, this is the wrong way to look at it. And it's because we haven't been taught about this. And this is why I'm here trying to educate, try and provide as much value for you watching. If you want some more value, I've got a personal private Facebook group. It's called Personal Finance and Australian Real Estate Tips. Definitely go join it. It's on Facebook. If you spend some time there, you'll definitely see that sense of community. We're talking about everything. It's not just about Australian real estate and money. It's just a good community with like-minded people. So definitely go join that. But essentially, with lifestyle, it's now being able to go and sit back, look at what you want to do. In lifestyle, that doesn't mean it's just, oh, I've reached retirement and that's when I get lifestyle. No. Lifestyle could come in at 35, it could come at 40, and that's where you have choice. This is all I've been saying. When you're investing in property, it's not about becoming the next billionaire, it's about getting more choices for yourself. More choice means you can make decisions based on happiness, not money, happiness, and that's the biggest return on investment ever. That's the reason I invest, is so that I have more choice and financial independence, so that if in the future I need to be able to drop my kids to school and pick them up, maybe that makes me happiest. Maybe that's why I wanted to do it. So when I've got the time now and I have the flexibility of actually investing, I'm gonna take that opportunity, because in 20 years, I don't know if I do, right? So lifestyle is about enjoying those things. Now, 4 concepts that I wanted to talk to you about. This is the Australian map, the map of Australia. Obviously, it does not look like Australia because I'm an excellent drawer, but essentially the reason this is up here is, number 1, you need to be a borderless investor. If you simply just rely on one state, you just rely on the areas that you're familiar with, you're gonna get screwed. There's no other way to put it. It's put simply that you will get screwed, because I've got a video on here, it's called land tax and how it's payable. You will get screwed with massive land tax bill, especially if you're trying to build a portfolio. The other thing is, your risk is all in one state. It's all in one familiar area. That for us is a no-go. For me personally, I cannot sleep at night knowing I have all of my properties in this one area because I'm familiar with it. I know it's gonna grow. Well, I don't think you do, because certain people don't understand that there's property cycles. It goes up and down. Now, do you want one portfolio where all the properties are in one space and they go every 6 years, they're gonna have that massive growth, and then they sort of sleep for the next 5 years and then it has massive growth? Or do you wanna have properties in different states so that every year one of them is growing? And that means if one is growing, you can take that equity out and plug it somewhere else. And that allows you to have consistency and sustainable growth. That also comes in the form of rental as well. If something massive happened in Sydney, like we're experiencing in 2020, well, you've had a mass exodus of people from Sydney, and especially in apartments. So if you had 4 apartments, you're basically screwed. So essentially, being a borderless investor allows you more opportunities, and that's where I tell you to leverage the expertise of professionals. You can get really burnt. I've heard so many people that, hear some uncle, or they've heard someone invested up in Brisbane somewhere, so they go around and say, okay, cool, I'll buy in Brisbane as well, and they get screwed over. The fundamentals are just not there. Supply and demand is massive, but it's also about uniqueness, and I talk about this so much on this channel, which means if you haven't subscribed, you definitely should. The second thing is building a portfolio. Simply buying 1 property or 2 properties and I get to live in my house and it's amazing is not going to get you financial freedom. That's the truth. And unfortunately, that's where we're headed, into an area where it's going to become less likely that you're going to be able to build a portfolio of size. 15 years ago, there were people around making, millions of dollars because they were actually purchasing property quite easily. There was no restrictions, or very little restrictions. And so they were able to build portfolios of 30, 40, 50 properties quite easily. The same people could not build them today. And that's purely because affordability has been a massive issue in Australia. The way that we acquire debt is not the same anymore. So I think we're going to continue heading down this path where in the next 3 to 5 years, if you haven't built a portfolio for yourself, you're probably only ever going to be able to purchase 1 or 2 properties. So this is where I urge you to take that action. If it's not with us as our buyer's agency, do it for yourself and find the right people for you, because now it's about action and actually executing, because it's an amazing time to be out there. The third thing is trading properties, selling profits. Okay, so what I mean by that is too many people get caught up saying, no, I'm never gonna sell. Like everyone always says in every article that selling property is a mistake. It's actually not a mistake if you know it's part of your strategy and you know how it works. So essentially, don't be afraid of having these properties and having a deadline as part of your roadmap that we help you create. It's really about understanding certain properties might be there to stay forever. There's others that may stay there to take advantage of a market cycle, and then you get rid of it to pay down some debt. It gets you there as an accelerated pace to enjoy what is the lifestyle properties, right? And finally, this is a boat with dollar signs next to it, essentially meaning you can do whatever you like when you have the money. That means if you want to continue working, continue working. If you want to take up a second job because you love it that much, do that. If you want to start up a side hustle or a business, well, are you in a better position to say, well, I've got $100,000 in my bank account and I'm going to start a side hustle? Or is it that I've got 3 assets that secures my retirement and gives me cash flow, meaning that I would rather have my money there, have some as an emergency fund, but essentially I've got cash flow coming in, which supports my basic expenses. Now I can focus on brand. Now I can focus on building an actual business. I don't talk about this too often on the channel, but I've grown many businesses over the last few years. And so if you are interested in learning some more about how to create side hustles, passive income, and of course, building a business in Australia, definitely leave me a comment down below. I love that stuff. I'm only here to bring you value. So if you do enjoy that, definitely leave me a comment down below and I'll make a video on that too. But essentially, living off the passive income means you have financial freedom, you're your own boss, and you can do whatever you like. Guys, that's the end of the video. I appreciate you watching all the way through. If you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and of course, give me a like down below if you've enjoyed it. And of course, if you do want me to make a specific type of content, comment down below. I'm all ears. I'm definitely really passionate about helping people. So whether that's on YouTube or whether that's on the private Facebook group, I'm here to bring you value. So I do appreciate your time, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video. Thanks, guys.